What's up, world? It's your boy Drew Marcy here for How to Rap. We're on the road, so we're in a different background out here in the studio in Europe. And in today's video, we're gonna do an updated version of one of our more successful videos from the stone ages of YouTube back in 2014 called Is Your Life Too Boring to Rap About? Now, since that video was released, not only has our YouTube channel mushroomed to over 500,000 subscribers at the recording of this video, but we've seen regular everyday viewers of ours get offered record deals. I've personally been paid to travel around the world as a rapper yet again, and much more. So the updated tips here will be based on the real life experiences of regular everyday people like yourself who are concerned if their life is too boring to rap about. So without further ado, let's get into it. Is your life too boring to rap about? Now, before we begin, be sure to subscribe to this channel with notifications because we drop weekly videos on how to go from an amateur rapper to becoming a GOAT level artist. And if you're ready to leave the so-called boring life of a job or school, be sure to pick up our 6-week amateur to artist course, Rap Tycoon, by visiting the first link in the video description box below. Now, the first thing you need to ask yourself before you even attempt to rap about it is, why do you think your life is boring in the first place? Without thinking long and hard about why you're so insecure about your life story, you'll likely continue to be stuck in a mental ditch of self-doubt in any area of your life, let alone music. So in order to fix this, we need to investigate rather than assume that the rappers that you look up to, that we all look up to, those GOAT level rappers, we need to investigate whether those rappers had a boring life before they blew up. And really think about that for a second. What constitutes an interesting life anyway? Is it some kind of 1996 stereotype that a rapper had to have killed people before they became famous? Is it the idea you have to be rich to be a rapper? If these ideas are true, then there's no solid evidence that many GOAT level rappers from Kendrick to Nas to others have ever killed anybody. In fact, many of those same rappers explicitly say in their songs they've never killed anybody. Does interesting mean you have to grow up poor? Because I highly doubt anybody who's actually experienced poverty would tell you that it's interesting to go to the same crappy job every day, to have to count pennies on your debit card, and much more. So before you decide that your life is boring, you need to ask yourself what interesting is really in the first place. Now, as you know, in these videos, we like to actually have you taking action on what we teach here so that you can already see your rap career moving forward off of one video. With this in mind, let's do a little exercise. Take out a notepad or a notes app and write 3 reasons you think your life is boring. This doesn't have to be that complex. It can be as simple as, I live in the suburb, or I'm broke, or I've never been in a fight, or I'm not from America. These are very common. Whatever those 3 are, just be honest and get your ideas quickly out on paper. So we're gonna have you write it right now. Pause the video if you have to, and we'll come back. Okay, so you just completed why you think your life is boring. And you have a list of things that you think, make your life boring and hurt your chances for rap. So whether that's I went to college, or I grew up in the suburbs, or I work a 9-to-5, a boring job. Let's look, as we said in the beginning, if there are any illustrious rappers who have similar life stories prior to blowing up, like some of the things on your list. Did they have boring lives as well? So let's say that one piece of your list is I'm in school or I went to college. Well, J. Cole not only graduated from college with top honors, and a lot of y'all going to school makes you think your life is boring and you're not destined for rap success, but even worse, so to speak, J. Cole worked as an over-the-phone bill collector during the recession for work. Boring. Nicki Minaj was a waitress at Red Lobster, which, while the delectable delights known as cheddar biscuits can never be disrespected as boring, I bet that job itself was pretty snooze-inducing. And of course, we cannot forget the iconic finesse of a lifetime with none other than the Trump lover himself, Kanye West, working at the Gap, the most milquetoast chain in existence in the 90s, rapping about it on Spaceship, and then eventually doing billion-dollar deals with that same company. So again, I ask, on what planet does not being poor and not killing people automatically dictate your life is boring? And furthermore, what examples do you have of these big name rappers that haven't had periods in their life which weren't boring? For the next exercise, look back at the 3 things you think are boring. The next thing we want you to do is Google if there are any rappers who are living the life you say is boring. So, for example, let's say you think your life is boring because you grew up in the suburbs. take a minute and Google rappers who grew up in the suburbs, and you might find out that Childish Gambino grew up in suburban Atlanta, Stone Mountain to be exact. Or another quick example, if you wrote down, I work a 9 to 5, you can look up rappers who work normal jobs on Google and you'll see a lot. So just to be clear, this exercise is next to each of the 3 things you say is boring, put the words rapper who in front of them and then type it into Google and see what you get. All right, we'll give you a second to pause the video and go through the exercise. All right, so you've gone through those 2 exercises. Now you've established that your life isn't really that boring. And even if you think it is, there are a list of rappers who became very successful living that same boring life. You can use those experiences to have creative fuel and make more braggadocious music about that very boring topic. This is a point we made in the first video, but let's just reiterate it for the first time viewers. We just talked about the song Spaceship by Kanye West, where he takes the boring life of working a retail job at Gap and creates an entire fantasy universe where he's transported into a world where he catches revenge on his staff, embodied by the metaphor of a spaceship, right? I've been working this grave shit and I ain't made I wish I could buy me a spaceship and fly past the sky. And of course, if my manager insults me again, I will be assaulting him. After I mess the manager up, then I'm gonna shorten the register up. Now that Kanye example actually ties in with the Eminem example we used in the video a few years back. The song If I Had, which was featured on the Slim Shady LP, is similarly about how he was tired of working a crappy job, going so far, just like Kanye, as to name check the company he worked at. Tired of working at Builder Square, tired of not being a millionaire. And for those of you that don't know what Builder Square is, I certainly didn't. It's sort of like a home improvement store, sort of like Lowe's or Home Depot. So can it get any more boring than Gap and Home Depot? So are Eminem and Kanye sufficiently successful enough for you to be convinced you can have a boring life prior to rap and still blow up? Now, for our last exercise, what we want you to do is exactly what Eminem and Kanye just did in those examples. Let's take one of the parts of your life from exercise 1 and turn it into a rap. We'll do it just 4 bars to keep it simple. So for bar 1, I want you to write about how you're tired of living the way you think is boring. So let's say that the one you choose is you're working a 9 to 5 that makes your life boring or whatever. You could say something just like bar 1 as, hey, I'm tired of living this 9 to 5. All right, so pause the video, write bar 1, and we'll come back. All right, so for bar number 2, what I want you to do is write a, but I know I'm gonna rhyming bar about your future interesting self. So we want you to write something about how you're eventually gonna have that interesting life. So for example, if bar 1 was, hey, I'm tired of living this 9 to 5, then bar 2 might be, but I know I'm gonna blow and ignite my life, and so on. Now, if you're having trouble coming up with rhymes, also know that the free bonus course, The Infinite Rhyme Maker, comes with our Freestyle Fortnite, Master the Art of Freestyle Rap in 2 weeks or less course, which you can pick up on the second link in the video description box below. Let's pause the video and have you write bar 2. Now, bar number 3 is describe what you have when you're living that interesting life. So write a line about something you do or have once you make it in that interesting life. So if the first 2 bars are, hey, I'm tired of living this 9 to 5, but I know I'm gonna blow and ignite my life, you could add, I'll be whipping so mean in the nicest ride, or something like that to describe the nice car you have. So pause the video, write bar 3, and let's come back. And for bar 4, finish off your 4-bar scheme with a line rhyming with the last one about how you remember the old days as you're experiencing your newfound glory. So again, for our example, if the first 3 lines are, hey, I'm tired of living this 9 to 5, but I know I'm gonna blow and ignite my life. I'll be whipping so mean in the nicest ride. You might add, peep how I came from the lows to the highest grind, or something like that to tie it all together. All right, so write bar number 4 and we're gonna wrap up. All right, so congratulations, you just got rapping here. You realize your life is not that boring, or if you think it's still boring, you know that there are examples of rappers who've really done it. You've identified your fears, realized that other rappers have been through it, and turned your boredom into bravado. Now, the next steps before you go are write the 4 bars that you wrote for the exercises. Write the 4 bars in the comments. We try to heart every comment. We try to interact. We love the community. So write your 4 bars that you got in the exercise. And of course, pick up our artist development course if you want to take this seriously. All right, I've been your host, Drew Marcy. I really appreciate you watching out here on the road, live from Europe. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.